Hello YouTube and welcome again to a new video guys. So in this video I'm going to explain a bit about XML, and my purpose of this video is to explain to you the in a simple way the how XML injection attacks occurs and the variety of the variety of these kind of attacks. So my purpose is not to explain how XML works. You can go to the web and find a bunch of tutorials about this. But often said that XML is kind of language that's used to interpret content between the client and the server. Okay. I'm gonna lay down some examples on the operation and the how-to of this language, and then I'm gonna walk you through, guys, how an XML injection attack works. Okay. So we're gonna explain now in a theoretical way. I'm going to give you an example, okay, like a simple client request and a server response, both in a malicious and non-malicious way. Okay, so now let's go to a regular XML request and how the server responds to these kind of requests. So basically, guys, consider this is kind of search function that provide kind of seamless user experience. And as you can see, it's implemented in Ajax. So now, when a user enters a website that's coded in Ajax and enters a search term in the search bar, the client side script issues the following request to the server. So whenever you enter something in the search, okay, this script is triggered if the application is running Ajax. And as you can see here, the content type is text XML. So now the functionality of XML, okay, is to interpret the content between the client and the server. So the XML will take the content request and interprets that using markups, entities, and then the server will respond with this, as you can see, response over here. So it's also in Ajax. And as you can see, these search results are nothing will change. Or here, as you can see, the request and the response. Now, when we encounter this type of functionality, we should always check for XML injection or XML external entity injection attacks. So this vulnerability, guys, arises because the standard XML parsing libraries support the use of entity references. So you may have heard what is entity reference, guys. So let me go to this one. So as you can see, the entity reference or the reference is whenever you see doc type. Let me edit this a bit. Okay, so whenever you see doc type for entity XSE system, whatever, so regardless of the nature of this request, malicious or not, so doc type for entity XSE system, it means that we are, in front of an external or entity reference. So the entity reference here is XSE, okay? And when we send this request over here, the value of the XSE is replaced with the value that comes after system. So the entity reference XSE here, if we type this XSE in the search bar, okay, now the value of this entity reference will be replaced with this one. Now I'm going to explain to you this request, okay, but I'm explaining what is entity reference, guys. Let's go back. So entity references should be familiar from other contexts, like for example entities corresponding to the and whatever. So furthermore, guys, XML specification allows entities to be defined using external references. So what is external references, guys? Now let's go to here. Okay, so as you can see, I have XML request, as you can see, and I have here the use of entities. And in my case over here, the entity XSE, okay, is referring to a location inside the file system. So this is malicious request. So any attacker, guys, can craft a request, post a request with XML, and then inject the XML request with an external entity reference. So external entities can be specified within the attacker's XML-based request by adding a suitable, as you can see, suitable doc type element to the XML, or by modifying the element if it already exists by interpreting or by interpreting the request. So an external entity, guys, reference is specified using the system keyword. Okay, and its definition is a URL that may use the file protocol. Okay, or it could be referring to an external URL instead of the internal resource on the local file system. So in the preceding example, the attacker can submit the following request, guys, which defines an XML external entity that references a file on the server. Okay, now this is external entity injection. Now let's see the server response. Now the server response, as you can see, search result, no results found for expression whatsoever. So it means that the attacker has requested a file to read a file on the server, and the results were like nothing, which means that the request has been executed and the attack was successful, but the attacker hasn't been able to retrieve any meaningful or tangible information. Now, another example is, as you can see, in addition to using the file protocol to specify resources on the local file system, the attacker can use protocols such as HTTP to cause the server to fetch resources across the network. So if given the IP address, okay, or given a path on the web application, an attacker can use XML injection to retrieve the content of sensitive information. Also, the attacker can use the application as a proxy, retrieving sensitive content from any web servers that the application can reach, including those running internally within an organization on private or non-routable address space. So these kind of attacks are kind of dangerous because, the attacker cannot only retrieve sensitive content, but can also piggyback on the current system and execute requests as, make the system as a proxy, acting as a proxy, and execute requests to the outside world or to other addresses on the internet, and make it seems like originated from the victim server. So this video, guys, was a simplification of how XML or external markup language attacks occur, and the most frequently or the most commonly used, XML external entity attack. I hope I simplified this concept, and if you have any questions, you just pop them in the video. Thank you so much.